gone live in a
Okay,
year.
we're live now.
Oh God. Hello. Okay, let me see if I can do this.
No panic. No panic.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right. It looks like we are live on YouTube, and I'm just waiting for Instagram to catch up. It's thinking. I hope I don't have to refresh it. Come on. You can do it.
My anxiety is through the roof. It's fine. It's fine. Stream key.
I might have to hang on. I might have to edit the stream key for. It's not going live on Instagram. It should be. So I'm gonna recopy edit.
Do you need me to do anything, or can I go ahead and do mine?
Give me just a second. Let me
get
to where we're actually online, because for some reason we're only online on YouTube, even though it's here. Yeah, you're already live. If you need to change this, okay, remove the destination. Let's do it again. Add it. Save.
I thought I wouldn't be nervous. It's fine.
Well, just so you know, anything you say from here on out will be on YouTube until we end it. So
it's fine. People can know.
I might have to refresh this because it's not working.
Do you need like completely
the story
like
of my life? No, no. I just need to. I got to re-grab a new. It looks like I have to re-grab a new stream key for some reason. For whatever the reason. Gotta love technology. I'm telling you, gotta love technology. All right, edit. There we go. Remove. Then we're gonna add it. Anybody who's watching this later, just fast forward.
We're trying. Technical difficulties.
All right, let's see if that works. There we go. Look at them apples. It's thinking. There we are. Now we're live on Instagram.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Now see if it'll do it on yours.
Okay.
As well. Because so far I haven't had anybody do it, so I'm curious.
Okay. Let me see if I can copy stream. I've never used this program before. It's pretty interesting. As I said, though, it's very pricey.
It's expensive.
I mean, I guess it's kind of everything. It does it. I guess it does it for you. So you kind of like eliminate that step.
It does. The only. What happened?
I'm live on Instagram, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, we're getting somewhere.
Maybe. Let me check my personal account.
Okay. Hi, Princess. We don't have anybody on Instagram just yet. It looks like we've got a couple of people.
Am I live? No. I'm confused. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, there we go. I guess it's working.
Thank you, Princess. All right. Are you live on yours as well, too?
Oh, no. I actually had to hit go live. Now I'm here. I think it's working.
Okay. All right. So the reason we're actually here.
Now I'm here.
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. I threw it away. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So I have Hannah Tallant. The whole reason that we're here is so we can get to know you and hear about what you're doing, because I love you and I want everybody else to love you too.
Oh my God, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you and your photography journey. I usually like to start at the beginning, like what got you to working with NASCAR.
I feel like that's a very big jump. Definitely. Let's start there.
Yeah.
A big step.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you got started with, I guess, cameras and photography in general.
Okay. I feel like when I started focusing on photography, I was in middle school. I was in this like STEM program. I think it's still a thing. Well, STEAM, sorry.
I got you.
I should always include art. I'm horrible for not. I was in a STEAM program called TSA, and I started competing doing photography. one of my teachers at the time, who was one of my old best friends' moms, who is still like, I credit her to a lot of my success, Corey Watkins. She's incredible. She was one of my teachers in middle school as well. She was kind of a really big push into getting me into photography and like helping me understand like what equipment to get and everything. And then I guess from there, as I said, started competing. I won a few awards, and then that kind of like fueled me to then in high school transition and focus more on that in high school. When I got into high school, thankfully, I know this is like a very like talking to a lot of people that do art now, a lot of people don't have access to art in the sense of like technological art, like cinematography, photography, stuff like that in high school. And I was very
Okay.
grateful to be able to take a program. In high school for I took it for 4 years actually. Michael Kaler was my teacher. Sadly, the program is actually no longer. The school board decided to get rid of the program because they found it not important, which I think is really awful, especially in how everything's transitioning right now to media, like pushing in media, pushing on social media. Presence with videography and photography is the most important thing right now. And the fact
Sure.
that they took that program away, I think they put more interest or like more demand in like their journalism program. But the
Okay.
basis of journalism is literally photography and cinematography. And if you don't understand those basics, it's kind of hard to direct somebody to create a full, I don't know. But sorry.
No, you're
So
fine.
in high school, I did a lot of photography. And then I competed in a film festival for 2 years. I took home 2 state championships. I don't have my
Okay.
trophies here, I would show you. So, like, the same exact trophies that the football teams would get, I got
Okay.
2 of those for myself. It's pretty cool.
Look at you.
Um,
You work it, boo.
no, it's fine. But, so that's I feel like that's where I started focusing on photography. Sadly, the story kind of stops for a little bit, though.
Okay.
I got at my like the end of high school going into like my adult life, I was in a really bad point, and so I kind of gave up photography and I didn't continue. I gave my camera to Wes, so that kind of started his journey and pushed him
Oh,
into
that's
the
awesome.
photography direction. So
Okay.
we kind of just passed the torch around within the
Okay.
family, so I'm very grateful for that. But put the camera down for about I'd say like 2 years or so. Definitely the
Okay.
worst decision that I've ever made, but it helped me clear my sense of understanding of the art. And then once I went through a lot of stuff, I started realizing that instead of doing it for the production aspect of it, which I was being taught, I was doing it to express myself as an artist and express how
Okay.
I felt and like kind of represent how I feel and help me get through these things that, I don't know. I was dealing with. It's hard to deal with shit. I don't know. The world's kind of
I got you.
complicated place, and has been for a while. So I don't know. My art's definitely been a push through that.
I think
And
it's I
then
think it's I think it's really common for creative people to do this
agreed.
bit because
And
I
then
know I gave up photography with an actual camera 15 years.
mhm,
I just got back into photography, and I say photography even though I do more video than photos
mhm,
anymore. I just got back into photography. I want to say it was like 5, 6 years ago, something like that, but I gave it up because it was just like you're carrying an extra weight with you when you go somewhere,
mhm,
and there's always this, "Oh, I should capture this. Oh, I should shoot that," and then it's not it's not handy, and,
yeah,
sometimes when you don't feel inspired, you still wanna take stuff, and then you're disappointed with it, so I get that. I think burnout's really real for creatives too.
yeah. Sadly enough, as it is, but I feel like the recovery process of it is definitely the the thing. I don't know. I feel like it's like you have to refuel your tank. You refuel your tank at some point, and this is like for
Oh,
me the way
sure.
that I refuel my tank. But everybody
Yeah, I think
burns
that's
out.
fair.
I mean, and I think that like realizing that is like the first step to like taking the next step is like, hey, I'm burned out. I need to give myself some time. I need to like recover because if I'm not in a good space, I'm not going to create stuff that I care about. And I've
100%.
done that like overworking myself in the sense of like having to work a normal job, run my own business, and then chase a
Mhm.
dream beyond my business. And I feel like it's definitely something that like burns me out a lot. I mean, I'm
Oh,
only
sure.
24. I'm literally 24, so it's kind of something that like for the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years, I've really been pushing to like do this more professionally. And it's been, my whole life has just kind of
Yeah,
been.
well, I think business in general and then being creative on top of it, there's so many aspects of must organize and do business things this day, have creative brain when you need to do the business stuff, but
Mm-hmm,
if you don't utilize the creative brain because you're supposed to do the business stuff, like you need to use the creative brain when you have it. And I mean, trust me, I do freelance work, so the
mm-hmm,
photography and the video is a portion of what I do, but it's
mm-hmm.
not the thing that pays all of the bills. It's just a
Yeah,
portion of what pays the
absolutely.
bills.
Yeah,
So, and I think
absolutely.
that's pretty common for a lot of people. All right, so you started, you had a passion, you took a break from it, you came back to it. Where are we now?
Um, so over the past 4 years, I actually was living in Blacksburg. I'm from Blacksburg, Virginia. I don't know if everybody
Okay.
knows that. So like Virginia Tech, if anybody knows, but like some people still don't know. So like Virginia's here, DC's like right here. I'm living like right here. This is this is West Virginia. This is Tennessee. This is North Carolina, and this is the ocean. I'm from like right here. So like
Gotcha,
Appalachian
gotcha.
born and bred. I'm very
Okay.
proud of that actually. But so I moved from Blacksburg. I was at a very low point. This is like before I picked up photography. Very low point, moved up here. And I was like, okay, I started a job. I was making money. I was surrounded by people who cared about me. I was actually happy for once in my life. I was my own person in a place where I could build anything. So I decided to build my life again. And with that, I started doing photography. I start
Okay.
realizing how much I talk with my hands. Let me put my hands down.
That's okay.
Um, but so I started doing photography. I was at first wanting to do more portrait work, and I feel like that's what my business has been around a lot. Like
Hmm.
I've surrounded my business around more portrait work, and I've definitely been successful by building a business with people that love me, building clientele that appreciate what I'm doing, in the same exact time staying true to my creative self, my creative ambition, like my desire to
Sure.
create in a unique way that represents who I am and my emotions and how I see people and the light around people. And
Fair enough.
I don't know, professional aura farming, I guess. No, I don't know if that's like no. I don't know. A professional aura photographer, I don't know. But yeah, so now I don't know how I transitioned from doing like regular photography to where I'm at right now is Wes. That's like the first step. If I'm being
Okay.
honest with you, like it's Wes. And
That's fair.
like I
I
know
can
when
see
we were
that.
talking, like everyone was like on his
Uh-huh.
episode, like everyone was like kind of dogging on him, but no, he was definitely the key to that. As I said, did photography first, and I kind of passed the torch to him. He then started transitioning, but he's like very intelligent, so he learned how to do everything to like a very scientific and technical way, but still
Hmm.
being creative in how he did it.
I'm
So,
so jealous of that, by the way, too. Anybody who gets the technical side of this shit and doesn't want to throw their camera across the room, like, I'm jealous of it.
I know, and yeah, and he's really good at it. Same as my partner as well. But so like I learned certain things from him. I took certain things that he knew and kind of put that into my own perspective and like applied that to my work in a unique way. And like we talk about it all the time where like our work is unique and similar, but in the sense that like it's also very different from each other, and we're very proud of that.
Sure.
Um, so like certain things that like I'm a big step just kind of establishing like how I started it though, and like how I started creating my style. Like the glowy aspect of my
Hmm.
photography is something that's very important for me because I like, as I said, capturing the light and like everything around people. So I'm
It's
actually
probably the. Oh,
Hmm?
it's. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So
I was gonna.
no, you I'm gonna stop. Go.
I was gonna
I'm gonna
say
stop. Go.
the glowy thing is the hardest thing for me. And it's so funny because I see the same thing in Wes's work as well too. Is
Mhm,
you guys are both very good at like that cinematic glow, and
mhm.
every time I do it, I'm like, I don't know how you guys do this because I just want
I'll
this
tell you.
gritty like clarity with a little bit of like dirt on top of it for some reason.
Mhm.
And every time I try to do the glow, it just it doesn't perform. Like I don't know how to do it successfully, apparently.
Well, I can tell you how to do it. So, do you want
Uh-oh.
to do it?
I'm
Is that what you
listening.
want?
I'm listening.
Do
I'm
you want?
listening.
Okay.
I
So I'm
do. Tell
actually a
me.
Tiffin ambassador. Tiffin is an
Okay.
incredible company. Tiffin is a filter company.
Filter?
We're one of the oldest filter companies in the US. They're US based. I have
Okay.
personally met the owner. He is an incredible guy. He actually goes to storefronts and promotes his product, which is very
Okay.
rare within the industry. There's there's a bunch of other companies that create filters, but I think Tiffin does it best, especially with their diffusion filters.
Okay.
So, for a while, I'm just gonna be that guy. I was low-key gatekeeping this, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to become a Tiffin ambassador, and I wasn't gonna talk about it until they gave me things to talk about.
I got
But
you.
so I have been using Tiffin filters for the past 4 years. I do not take them off my lens. They're called black
Okay.
chromists.
I know what you're talking about.
They are. Yeah. So if you ever wanted to get into diffusion filters, black chromists are the best at what they do. Especially if you want to do like cars. They actually have a CPL diffusion filter now. So it's really good if you want to do.
Oh, I like the where this is going, ma'am. Because
Yeah.
I just started using one finally. We were talking about my lens before we hopped on. So
I think it's a
CPL,
CPL.
I started using, I had attempted to do this prior with a CPL and an ND filter, and my lens does not like the stacking. So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, I'll scrap the ND filter and I'll just use the CPL filter. And I have liked my photos with it. I haven't really dialed in video quite yet with it, but you're now telling me that I can add the soft little like glowy stuff with it. I like this. I like where this is going, man.
I am confirming I may be incorrect. Tiffin, please don't come for me.
Fired. Fired.
Yes, it is. It is. No, it is. It is.
Okay.
It's the Tiffin. It is the Tiffin Fusion Pole. So it's the
Okay.
black chromis and a CPL filter all in one.
Interesting.
So how Tiffin
You have me on
does,
Amazon.
no, don't buy off of Amazon. Do not buy
Okay.
your photography equipment off of Amazon if you can't. Support local businesses, and if you can't support
Fair.
local businesses, buy from B&H. They'll ship it to your house in a couple days.
Fair.
Actually, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure how they are with the current political environment, so please don't quote me on that, guys. I don't stand beside companies that kill children. Okay, back to what I was saying. This is the black promise. So I shoot with the black promise 1/2. I went between a 1/4. That's where I started. It's a quarter.
Okay.
I recommend if you want to start with the black promise quarter. It'll kind of allow you to understand if you want more or if you want less. If you want less, step down to a 1/8. If you want more, step up to a 1/2. If you want even more, go for a 1. The highest you can get is a 5. The 5 is super, super. I recommend that if you're doing like that's more for cinema work, in my opinion.
Okay.
And it's super, super. I have one. I don't know if, yeah. I don't know if it'll be easy for you to see, but it's super dark. And like, do you see?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what it does is what the black promise does compared to a lot of other diffusion filters is that it still retains your contrasts. So you're not losing your contrast. They're not being blown out with everything else.
Okay.
With the increase of the number, that kind of is pushed, but it still does a really good job retaining your blacks and their contrasts and stuff like that. So I really love these. There's also a lot of companies. I have a lot of friends that, are ambassadors for other companies. I'm not going to name them right now because I'm not an ambassador for said companies. But I recommend using these. As I said, Wes got me into these. If you also shoot film, I really like using these, especially if you're doing cool light stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for rambling about my
No,
my
that
filters.
is
this is
what
literally
this is for.
This is literally, the key to success, in my opinion. So if you want this, buy the stuff at Tiffin's website. You can also get them off of B&H's website. What I do, if you have multiple lens sizes, if you can, I just buy the largest size and then do any of the step up ring.
That's fair.
Tiffin is also coming out with a new filter. I don't think they're on the market yet, but I have been sent them. They're the dark contrast filters. So what that does is it kind of does like the little bit of the opposite. I have some videos on the differences of them on my Instagram. So if you guys want to learn more about those, check them out on my Instagram. Sorry, I'm not trying to promote myself or anything like that. But
That is
pretty
what
cool.
this whole thing is for. It's to learn about you and then talk
Okay.
about what we've learned in the process of learning.
Okay.
But no, that's actually really good to know because I don't like using the filters, but I only
Mhm.
haven't liked using them because my first DoD that I did, I had the ND and CPL stack, and
Mhm.
I could not for the life of me figure out why my camera would not focus to save my life. It would
Yeah.
reach a certain point and then the focus would pick up.
Mhm.
And as soon as I took the stack off, it was fine. So I haven't used a filter until about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, all right, we're going to try this different. And here we are. But I'm going to look into that because this year is kind of my year of, I don't want to overdo it, but I want to play with different things that I haven't used, haven't
Mhm.
tried,
Mhm.
know about, have it, deep dived into research sort of thing. So
Mhm.
that's a good additive.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So you used to work in a camera store too,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm. Yes. Oh, actually, speaking of, sadly enough, that camera store recently, it actually like 2 nights ago it caught on fire. We just saw the news
Oh
article about it. Really, really
no.
sad.
That
But
is
yeah,
sad.
I worked at Ace Photo.
Oh,
They're
okay.
located in the DMV. I worked there for like 6 months. So working there, I learned a lot about like the industry and
Which one?
what do you mean? I'm so sorry.
Which Ace Photo?
There's only one of them. So there's two. There used to be two stores, Dominion Camera and Ace Photo, but Ace Photo is it's only in Ashburn, so it's just the
I
uh,
was just in there. I was just in there a couple weeks ago to pick
yeah.
up some mono bath. I
I
didn't
don't know. I
realize you
got
worked
it.
there.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I worked there for like 6 months. That's actually how I met my boyfriend.
That's so great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't usually go into Ace. The
Where are you located? I'm so sorry.
So I'm in Virginia. I'm in Bealton. So Ashburn's like 45 minutes from me.
Okay. Okay. So you're not far from me. I live in Manassas.
I used to live in Manassas. I lived there for
Okay.
years.
Cool. Oh, I don't know why I didn't know that. For
And
some reason, I thought you
my
lived more near Charlottesville.
no, 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 no. And then my favorite camera person, the one that I always go to, like when I have camera
Mhm.
questions, he works
Mhm.
at I always get it wrong. He works at the one in Burke.
District.
That's not District. I always want to call it Dominion. It's
Who is
District.
it?
Angel.
Okay, I've never met him. I have a lot of my friends work at District, so Christian,
Okay.
who's like part of my group, we
He
do
hides in the
a lot of it.
back.
Yeah, I he is friends with I always forget the really amazing female photographer who does film drifting photography. She's incredible.
Oh,
What's her
Ellie?
name? Yes, doesn't she? Aren't they friends?
I
Am
have
I
no idea on that
I
one.
may be wrong. Don't no one quote me on anything. I really don't know. She's cool though. Shout out to
So
her.
I love Ellie.
She's
I
really
got
cool.
to
I've never
see
met her. I
her.
wish to meet her soon at some point.
If you do Summit Point, she's almost always there. Not
Mhm.
every time, but she's usually there. I actually just saw her a couple weekends ago because that we were all at Summit for the season opener,
Mhm.
and but we were talking about the mono bath for black and white film because I've decided if I'm going to shoot film at all, I'm just going to keep it simple this year for black and white because it's so much faster for me to process
Mhm.
that I don't mind doing the process because it's
Mhm.
not 100 steps,
Yeah.
and I can keep it simple that way.
Mhm.
But Pro Photo, the lady who
From
owns that,
DC. Yeah.
yeah,
I love them.
I love her, Sally. I love her.
She fixed my Mamiya 645 1000S. I love that woman.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She
Love
actually
her.
lives in Fairfax.
Really? I didn't
Um,
know that. It makes
yeah,
sense.
and then Angel has been a friend of mine since I was in my 20s, and I'm 45.
Mhm.
So he was that 15-year gap where I didn't do anything. He was
Mhm.
one of the people that was there when I came back into photography again. And then so Ace, that was the first time I had been there, was a couple weeks for the
Mhm.
mono bath. And then District, Angel was at Dominion. Was it Dominion? What was the one that closed that was in
Dominion.
it was Dominion, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
It was so
District
Dominion
and
and Ace
Dominion.
were owned by the
That's what I
same
thought.
yeah,
Okay.
they were owned by the same person at one point in time, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like, the person who owned Ace purchased Dominion when the old owner, like, sold the company, and so they
Okay.
combined, and then Dominion closed because it's just really hard to keep storefronts open nowadays.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently the one I have here in Warrenton is going to be going away as well.
Yeah. Sadly, a
Um,
lot of them, it's just super hard with it, just everything with
yeah,
internet and
well,
everybody just doesn't wanna walk in. I mean, I love it. I love that I'm able to, like I mean, the other
sure.
day I ran out of, dev supplies. I just went in and got some stuff. If I need film, like, B&H can get it to me in, like, a day or 2, but, like, if I have to, I can go and grab film if I need to, so it's super nice.
Sure. Well, and that was part of the reason that I went to ACE for the mono bath was financially, it actually made more sense for me to
Mhm.
get it from them for the amount of time that I needed to pick it up.
Yeah.
Um, because of the pricing, it was going to take forever for me to get it from Cinestill,
Mhm.
and they already had it in stock. I was like, and for whatever reason, District didn't even have it. It said
Yeah,
they
District
carried
was
it, but they
yeah,
didn't
no,
have
they
it.
don't no, when I was looking for color stuff, they didn't have it either.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, total tangent. So you work at a camera store. Are you
Yeah,
doing that currently, or was
mm-mm.
that something? Okay.
No, so I actually have not worked at Ace Photo for going on a year now, actually.
Okay.
If I No, it's over a year. I've worked in my current
Okay.
job for over a year. So I decided to leave Ace and transition more into focusing on my photography career because my business, both like my portrait business, I do portraits. I mean, I do like grads, weddings, um, business stuff, corporate stuff. I do like events and stuff like that. So like that definitely like helps me pay the bills. Um, but also I wanted to transition to it, like focusing more on sports, motorsports, entertainment, and stuff like that. So I wasn't really
Okay.
able to do that at my other job. They would never give me the time off. Funny enough, a camera store doesn't allow a photographer to take the time off that they need.
Right.
Funny. But yeah, so I transitioned to a job that allowed me to do so. I was very grateful for that, and so now I've been working there for a year. I serve, so it's one of those things where like I can just pick up shifts when I
Sure.
need to, work when I need to, and it's a pretty decent amount of money because I work up in North Bethesda. Yeah, I drive from Manassas to North Bethesda every day.
Okay. That sounds like a haul. Yep.
Sometimes it takes me 2 hours to get to work. It's fine sometimes, and so like the money's worth it a lot of times, but.
Okay.
I'm grateful, but they work with me. My manager is very he was one of my managers at my previous jobs up here, so he was very understanding of like what I wanted to do and like work like starting to work there. That was like a
Mhm.
prearranged agreement like, "Hey, I want to work here. I'll work here every day that I'm not working my other job, but like that is my goal. I'm trying to climb a ladder. I just need to pay my rent. I'm here to pay my
Right.
rent. I'll work hard, but I need to pay my rent, but this is also my other, you know what I mean? So, but I really like that I'm able to do that and love my coworkers and everything. They're very supportive of what I do. And so I've been able to succeed in that sense. But like the past year has been super crazy for me, like genuinely crazy for me. It's picked up way more than I ever expected it to. Actually, it was because I worked at a camera store, I am able to have the opportunities I have now, not because of the camera store, but
Okay.
because of the people that I met. I met this incredible human being named Joe. He founded with he and one of his friends, like they founded this they founded All Pro Reels, which is a live or like an entertainment, sports entertainment uh online publication, I guess. I'm not like the best at explaining, but yeah, so they cover the main thing that we cover is the Commanders. That's what we're most known for, the Commanders and the Wizards. So when I cover for the Wizards, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, but when I do like basketball coverage, I'll photograph for All Pro Reels. I also photograph over their like concerts and their credentials for concerts and stuff like that. So I help cover like find coverage and stuff like and like photographing shows like concerts in the area. Sorry, I keep saying um so I photographed at most of the venues in the DC area, in the sense of like photography wise, concerts. So I photographed 21 Pilots in Baltimore. I photographed at the 930 Club. I photographed at Union Stage. I photographed at Pearl Street. I've photographed at the Anthem. I photographed at the Fillmore. Pretty much any like oh, and Capital One. I've gone to Capital One several times to do shows and stuff like that. So with meeting Joe and helping him, like, and working with him, he's allowed me these opportunities. I met him because he was wearing All Pro Reels stuff, and I was like, oh my god, like All Pro Reels, I love like the content that they create. He's like, oh yeah, like I founded it, and we started talking, and he was really nice. I actually helped him find a monopod. Funny enough as it is, as we were talking earlier about
I know. Fucking
monopods.
hate them. Hate
Yeah,
them with
I
a passion.
know. And so, well, we found him a great one, so hopefully it's
Okay.
still fine. But he was very thankful for my help and everything. But we started talking, and I was like, "Hey, like, do you guys cover NASCAR?" He's like, "No." But I was like, "I would love to cover NASCAR, or like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to cover NASCAR at some point in time." And like, he kind of was just like, "Okay, like, here's follow my personal account, like, whatever." And so I got in touch with him, and I covered an event for him at one point in time, and with that, he's allowed me to cover more and more stuff for them as I've built trust and understanding through the company. And I've done local stuff with like a lot of the local sports teams, like in the Catholic churches and stuff like that. They do a lot of
Okay.
outreach within that. So,
What was the drive for NASCAR for you, especially considering the fact that, I mean, I do as much as I do in drifting just because I stumbled into it. I didn't go looking for it, but
mhm.
you seem like NASCAR was important to you.
Um, I feel like I was born into NASCAR.
Okay,
My dad is a huge NASCAR fan, and
got
then
it.
Wes is just drifting. So just like the push for motorsports
Yeah.
and everything, and loving that has just kind of been fueled over the past couple years, or my whole life. But it's really, refired. I feel like refired over the past like 4 or 5 years of my life. Um, but my dad's a huge NASCAR fan, like, that's his special interest, like, you can ask him
Okay.
anything about pretty much anything, he'll tell you. You can show him um, any Mark Martin scheme, and he'll tell you what race that was raced at, who won, like,
Okay.
all this other stuff, like, he's crazy at it, and so I've always had some respect of it, respect for it, but I never, like, saw myself going into NASCAR, but I love the sport. I love it
Okay.
so I genuinely love NASCAR so much, and it's crazy. It's one of my favorite things is actually surprising people when they ask me what I like to do or what like photography I do. I'm like,
Right.
or like what my dreams are. I'm like, I want to work for NASCAR. I want to work around NASCAR or for a team. Like that's my goal. Is
Right.
hopefully to get to the point where I'm able to work for a team
That's fair.
and do that. So that's like my goal. But yeah,
Well,
I don't
so
know.
let's talk about that a little bit more, and only
Mhm,
because I have enough experience to ask some questions.
mhm.
Um, and I just lost one of my questions, but
I'm so sorry.
no, you're fine. So, well, because you mentioned team versus the event itself.
Mhm,
And I know I prefer having something to focus on for the day versus just wildly shooting at an event, which I do probably 80% of the time. But
mhm.
from your own perspective, what do you like about the concept of team shooting versus shooting just the event, or is there a good blend of both?
Sorry, Wes just sent me a text message that made me laugh. I apologize.
Wes, quit it. I know you're not watching, but quit it. You text him and say, Mama Dawn said, knock it off.
Okay. Can you restate your question? I'm so sorry.
Yes, it's
Wes, I hate
okay.
you.
He's fired. So
Ban him from the live?
probably might take a little bit of research, but I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Causing chaos already. Um, so team versus event coverage.
Mhm,
So I would assume that NASCAR or whoever you're shooting for NASCAR, whether that's a media outlet, yourself, whatever that is,
mhm.
when you shoot at an event, you're usually going in to shoot everything, or you might have a focus depending on the who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah.
But then shooting for a team, have you gotten to shoot for a team directly yet? So I guess what I'm looking for is, do you find a balance in both? Is there a preference over one over the other? And
Mhm.
what are those reasons?
So I'll kind of just, I guess, explain more so what I've experienced on the sense of shooting for all pro reels and then shooting when I did photograph for NASCAR, or kind of like how the day is, I guess.
Sure.
Um, So when I shoot for all pro reels, I'm kind of just shooting how I see the day, how I want to represent the sport, how I want to tell my story, and that's kind of something that's been very important to me. Before I even shot for All Pro, I know taking a step back, I was just photographing as a fan. That's kind of how I started transitioning into it and having the experience, was like when I would go to races as a fan. Over the past couple of years, I was able to bring my camera. It's actually a very accessible sport. You're able to sorry,
He's
Wes
still
texted me.
messaging you?
Yeah, but I didn't see it. It just like I just saw it pop
No,
up, and
you
I'm
can,
like,
I'm
I just
messaging him. You keep talking.
hold up. Wes and I are literally one of the same, by the way. He's literally my second half. It's not even funny. Oh, he's silly. Oh,
Message him.
no. I don't know if he was okay. Maybe he wasn't talking about me. I don't know. Whatever. Well, okay. Never mind. It's fine.
He
It's
got a
fine.
message anyway.
It's fine. We'll harass him nonetheless.
Okay.
Okay, so back to what I was saying. So I was photographing as a fan for, I'd say, 2 seasons. And then but I was still photographing with like professional equipment. I was going to the races actually, and it's, as I was saying, it's actually a very accessible sport. Most people don't realize it. In comparison to like football and basketball and stuff like that. I actually used to take my 5D Mark III into the Commander stadiums when I used to like go to the Commanders game. So there's like a gray area somewhere. It's definitely got more intense, especially with the rise of social media demand and stuff.
Right.
But with NASCAR, about 2 seasons, I guess, just photographing as a fan, and then I was actually at one point contributed to like a smaller team because one of their photographers like saw my work, and like I was just like, hey, like I'm gonna be at this race, blah 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 blah, and he was really awesome and like helped me kind of like. He was like, yeah, if you could take any good photos of this driver, like we may post them. And so they ended up posting them, and then transitioned back into All Pro Reels, started doing that for All Pro. And so how All Pro is, as I said, like I'm photographing how I see the day, how I want to represent the sport, how I think our audience, who is very Commanders like driven, very football driven, very family driven, would want to see the sport documented. And like for me, I find it very important to document the sport the way that I do, because when it comes to media in general, the market is very saturated right now. There's a lot of people who do it. I mean, you probably see that when you cover drift events, how many media people are there, right? For me, I want to always take that next step. I want to take that next step, and I want to change how people are saying. Like NASCAR is also very like, you've probably heard I mean, everyone knows like the stigma, or like everyone knows like all the jokes about NASCAR, like it's a redneck sport, like it's stupid, it doesn't matter, like it's not a real sport, blah 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 blah. Like NASCAR is a real sport. It's actually very intense. Like just the demand around it too has increased a lot of people. And so even over the past 4 years, ever since COVID, NASCAR has motorsports in general has definitely been seen at a different light. And I think that started with the F1 series, the F1 Drive to Survive series. A lot of people started like, oh my God, motorsports is actually beyond driving a car and on a track for however many hours. Like there's a lot of time, there's a lot of training, there's a lot of understanding that goes into it. And I feel like it's very different. And I want to represent that and like the passion behind that. And like there's a lot of family too. It's very family driven. It's a very family driven sport. All motorsports is, you know, that everyone's family at the track. It's and if you're not, like, it causes problems. And it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be team drama. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, we're racing for the same goal, and we're going to get to the same goal at some point.
Jimmy commented and said, redneck here, I own it. And your brother has now joined with laughing emojis and said, my bad, LOL. You're fired, Wes. We've decided. You're in timeout.
Bye. Delete. So I feel like with APR, I've been able to do that. I was doing that more like showing it through the fan's perspective before APR, and now I'm showing it through like my perspective of like as still being a fan, and like intertwining that is like something that I find that is very important, because there's a very fine line. A lot of people get into sports and stuff like that All motorsports are nepo-based. That's all I have to say. A lot of it is nepotism when it comes to the professional leagues of sports.
Yeah.
So some
Well,
of
it's
these
that
people have,
money.
yeah,
That's a big part of it, because
mhm,
it's money.
yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing that I have seen in all of the motorsport stuff, but I've noticed it very heavily with the drifting is you have tiers to a lot of this, but the tiers so very often are based on how much money you have to throw at
yeah,
it. You know,
100%.
you got the grassroots guys that I love oh so much that, we're lucky their car made it there that day, but they're
Yep,
gonna full send it till
yep,
something breaks and they're done
yep.
for the day.
Wes,
Um and then you've got the guys that have these like thousand horsepower, machines that are just they're more than the money I've spent on my condo, I'm sure.
literally.
So and I think that's where you see the difference a lot of
Hmm.
times is unfortunately, like most of the rest of the world, sometimes it boils down to the money you can put in or the sponsorship money that you can get, put into whatever you're doing.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like when it comes to photography, you definitely see that. There's a lot of people who also have no understanding of the sport prior to getting into it and photographing and documenting it. There's also people who understand the sport before understanding how to photograph it and they transition. And I'm like, I feel like it's important for me because I kind of understand both. And I feel like that's
Hmm.
something that I kind of bring to the table, but I also document and like do that in like a creative and unique way that not everybody can do, but it's also still not. It's not. I don't know. It's kind of like very artistic. It's artistic, but it's still professional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
And
got you.
but
I
it's
got
taken
you.
me a very long time to get to that point. I want
Sure.
everybody to realize that like you just don't get there. Like I've like I just want to state that like all the tones and stuff that I use in my work, I've built all of them. I have never bought any presets ever. Everything that I have created, I have built from the base up. I have understood how it affects my images. I understand how my camera works. I understand how my camera and everything around within my camera affects my images and affects that finalized product. I shoot how I edit to how I post. Everything is like all has to be together for this finalized product to come into fruition. Like it's all different steps that you have to make sure that you have to take. So I want everybody to realize that like you have to put the work in to understand it. Taking steps to get past something to make it easier for you in the sense of limiting, less time. Oh, I'm just going to go do this because I, don't want to take the steps to actually understand it. At some point in time, you're going to hit a wall where you're not going to
Sure.
understand how to fix something or how to change something because you don't understand the actual base of what it is. And that just comes with anything.
100%.
And when you're in such a fast paced sport, such an adrenaline high sport, it's very important for you to not make those mistakes. You know what I mean? It's
I think it's
very
really
go, go,
easy
go.
to get I think it's really easy to get stuck in processes too.
Hmm.
Because I think it's like once some people learn a process, it's really easy just to keep like regurgitating the
Yeah.
process versus expanding beyond it to see what you can add to the process.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm guilty of that just like anybody. It's like you get comfortable and then you go, wait, why does my stuff look boring? I don't want
Yeah.
my stuff to look boring. And then,
Yeah.
you search for the next thing.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what does this
Um,
year look like for you then?
Transitioning from last year to this year, last year was my busiest year that I've had, but this year is going to be even busier. Last year I photographed Richmond, Dover for NASCAR,
Okay.
um, Richmond, Dover, Pocono, Martinsville. No, yes, Martinsville. Sorry, I think I only did. Hold up, I have my. Here, I'll show you. Actually, give me a second. I'm not gonna like show them, but like this is like my DC credentials. These are my Washington credentials. These are my NASCAR credentials. So Martinsville, Richmond, Dover, Pocono. Yeah. So this year, I'm hoping I'm gonna do the next race I have is this upcoming weekend. I'm literally driving to Darlington either tomorrow night
Okay.
or Friday morning. I'm still trying to figure that out. Very. nervous about it.
So for doing this stuff with NASCAR, who's
Mhm.
contracting you for that? Is it NASCAR that's contracting you for that?
So if I'm not mistaken, it's technically a completely separate company
Okay.
that's contracted, but it's representing NASCAR, affiliated with NASCAR. It's still NASCAR Productions teams.
Okay.
It's kind of like all intertwined in how it is. If I'm not mistaken, do not hold me to this. I'm pretty sure on my contract, it's also through Amazon. I'm having to sign a contract because Amazon's representing NASCAR now. Do not hold me to that. I'm not 100% sure. I also probably cannot
You're
fully
fine.
talk
I was
about my
just curious.
contracts, but no, you're good. Um, but yeah, so but I'm still representing NASCAR. Like all the stuff that I create is to represent NASCAR. Um, so yeah, so I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all weekend, and then I get to come back to Blacksburg. I'm going. Blacksburg's going to be like my centralized location for like the next month. So I will
Okay.
go back to Blacksburg for a few days, and then I'll head back out to Martinsville. Then I'll do that for all pro reels, unless somebody asks me to cover for them. From Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then take a weekend off. It's their off week. It's like one of the first years that they have not had to race on Easter, so they have Easter off.
Okay.
Spending Easter with my family, and the weekend after that is Bristol. After that, I'm hoping to. This is not in order. Don't hold me to this. I'm hoping to go to Pocono, Dover, Richmond, Michigan. Michigan's like one of the big ones this year. I am photographing a wedding in Vegas, and the weekend after, I'm going to be there. They're racing in Vegas again, so I'm going to try to
Okay.
possibly cover in Vegas. I'm not 100% sure. That is the goal. Um, but yeah,
More power to you on weddings. I can't do it. I'm not
thank
built
you.
for them.
I am
I'm
slowly
proud of you.
transition. I'm transitioning myself out of it. I do not promote that I do. I do not promote that I do weddings. I love to
I
do
get asked to
weddings.
do them all the time.
I love to do my friends' weddings. It's very tiring for me though. Event coverage
It's
pays the
exhausting.
bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
okay.
exhausting.
It's gotten to me to this point financially where I'm, able to do what
Well,
I
I
want
I
to
think
do and
I
helps
think
me
that's
out.
kinda I think that's kind of it, kinda like what I was saying about doing the freelance work. I do more than the photography and the video, but social media knows about the photography and video. Word
Mhm.
of mouth knows the other things that I do
Yeah.
because, whether one pays the bills or the other, it doesn't really matter. You're having to do this, like, cacophony of things, you know, this whole, like, collaboration of things to make sure that, you can eat tomorrow and pay the mortgage and, whatever
Yeah.
else you have to pay.
Absolutely.
Um, but I get that because when I first started back into photography, I did the whole portrait thing too. It was a
Mhm.
lot of people. I worked with a lot of models, and I didn't like being in the middle of other people's drama, which is
Mhm.
one of the reasons I backed out of it. But I miss doing underwater photography. That was one of my favorite things to do,
Yeah, I've
and
always wanted to do it. It's
it's a
just the
lot of
housing's so
fun.
expensive though, and the
You don't have
production's
to
expensive.
you don't have to have anything fancy. Most of my
Hmm.
photography work was done with it's a company called Outex. It's a
Mhm.
little pricier now than what it was, but it's
I feel like
literally a
everything is.
silicone sleeve.
Yeah.
It's literally a
I've seen the
silicone sleeve,
sleeves. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then you have a piece of glass
Mhm.
that attaches to your lens, so it threads
Okay.
in,
Mhm.
and then you thread a piece of glass over that. That's what seals the silicone sleeve. And then you
Okay,
have the
okay.
option of glass on the back so that you can see your
Mhm.
live screen so you can actually see what you're shooting. They have other things as well too. They have a dome. They have to where like you can do an output cable. Like they've got a whole like arrangement to get through the bag's output cable to tether. Um, but that's how I shot everything was just with this bag and lens setup. I want to say all in at the beginning it was like $400 or $500, but the housing for my camera was like $2,500. I'm like, there's no
Mhm.
way. There's no entry point for me at that. I could buy another camera for that.
Yeah, dude, that's insane.
Yeah. So there's definitely ways to do it. And I mean, cell phones do it now, GoPros do it. Like, I mean, you could
Yeah.
still get something, but
Mhm.
it's really rewarding, especially when you have a model. And I always say model because most of the people I've ever worked with the underwater stuff, they've done modeling or mermaids, things like that. when you have somebody who's very, very good underwater, it just, it's so rewarding. That's all I got. It's rewarding.
I have definitely been very interested in doing it, but as I said, I just don't have the space, don't know where to, don't know how to, and I'm just like, sadly.
If you ever have a day where you think you want to do it, I'll toss my camera in and we'll go find a pool. We'll just go
I'm
do it.
down. I'm down.
Okay. I'll
I'm
let you know.
down.
I have 2 models I usually shoot with underwater once a year. They're
Mhm.
probably over me because sometimes it takes me forever to get their photos back to them now just because of time.
I mean,
But
it's
they're
life.
2 of my favorite people and they're so good at it. I'll let you know.
Mhm. Perfect. No, I'd
I'll
love to.
shoot you a message.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right. So we're shooting NASCAR. We're trying to move away from the weddings and event style stuff. Tell me about some of the concert and sport work because that's a whole other realm of like obstacles and things to work with. Because like my understanding of the concert photography stuff is there's some spaces you can only be in for a short period of time,
Mhm.
and then you
Yeah.
have to move out of them.
Mhm. Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that.
so most concert venues is except like local smaller venues. Most of the time the rule is 2 to 3 in and out. It depends on the venue. It really does, but most of the time it's like 3 and out. So you do 3 songs in the pit and then you're out of the pit.
Okay.
Some venues will well, a lot of times it's like artist based, venue based, but sometimes they'll allow you to shoot from the rest of the house for the rest of the concert. So like you can go, so that's when you're like 70 to 200 comes in handy and stuff like that. So I normally when I'm in the pit, I'm shooting with like a 24 to 70, and then if I want like a really close shot, I'll put on like the 70 to 200, both 2.8. And then I when I'm shooting from the house most of the time. Like if I need a wide shot, I'll put on a 24 to 70, but most of the time I'm shooting with the 70 to 200.
Fair.
Um I've taken some of my favorite photos, from the back of the house because it's or within the house because a lot of the DC venues have, especially like the Anthem, the Fillmore that's in Silver Spring, Maryland. They have balconies, so you're able to like go up in the balcony and shoot down, which is like some of the best shots that I've gotten, where you get like the crowd and the artists. Because um, one of my favorite photos is of my favorite band, Pup, and their lead singer, Stefan. He was like he was crowd surfing, and it was really cool because I like the light hit it really cool and everybody's like holding him up and he's just like has the microphone, he's like crowd surfing. He's like a really cool photograph that I took. But I got that from, and if I was
Right.
down in the pit, I wouldn't have been able
You'd have missed
to get
it.
that shot
Yeah,
exactly.
that's fair.
So it's kind of cool, and it kind of like allows you to get different shots. And like I've even gotten like super close ups. Like, do you know who Finn Wolfhard is by any chance? Have you seen
Sounds really
Stranger
familiar.
Things?
Yeah.
Have you seen Stranger Things? Mike.
Oh, I know what you're about.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know what
he's
you're about.
actually a musician. So I photographed him at the what the hell is it called? Union 9. Wait, no. No. Not Union 9. Sorry. DC 9, I
Okay.
think. Oh my god, there's so many venues in DC. Honestly, I don't even know where I photo. Please hold on. I have so much going on, everybody. My brain is just not here. My information is like retained for a small period of time and then it leaves my brain. But it was like a smaller venue, so it was really easy for me to like go. Okay, the Atlantis. Sorry, the Atlantis is one of the newest DC venues. It's owned by
Okay.
the same people who own the Anthem.
Okay.
The Foo Fighters were the ones who opened it because Dave Grohl is from DC. Am I right? Dave Grohl, Foo
I
Fighters? Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
yeah. But so like I was able to from the crowd to like take that, and like from above I was
Okay.
able to take that because it was a smaller venue.
Now, how do you set up gear-wise for concert? Because concert is very different than
Mhm,
NASCAR. You're usually dealing with low light or,
mhm.
you know, how do you usually set up your gear and what are you looking for when you're at a concert?
I feel like it's honestly very similar. Like it's in the sense that like when I shoot NASCAR, I'm shooting with a 24 to 70 to cover the front end, and then I'll pick up a 70 to 200 to cover the back end, and then if I have to, I'll pick up a 400 or whatever to 6, just depending. But when I do concerts, it's same equipment. When I shoot. I've been very grateful to be able to use my to have access to a Z9. So I shoot the Z9 more recently. I
Okay.
also have a Canon 1DX, so I'm on both sides of that. I'm on Canon and Nikon. I
Okay.
just don't really f with Sony. That's all I have to say. If anybody wants to talk to me about that, we can talk about that in my DMs. Wait, we don't want to talk about that.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Sony people just be aggravating me.
So
Um,
Sony people be Sony people.
yeah, they do be Sony people. They do be Sony people. Um, but so as I said, like when it comes to shooting with, both the 1DX and the Z9, they both have a lot of their dynamic range is very broad. So they're able to really be
Sure.
pushed to what they need to, especially the Z9. And then with how Photoshop has advanced in the sense of, noise reduction and everything, you can bump these cameras to a very, whatever, still allowing yourself to use that, as I said, I'm shooting with a 2.8, so you're allowing the most amount of light into it with the aperture in that sense, not all the most amount, but like a decent amount. So you have
Right.
that depth around your subject, but you also have the light coming in. And then I'm still trying to keep it above 1/200, unless I'm doing
Okay.
like more stylized stuff where I want it to like shutter, drag, and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
like that. So I'm trying to keep it over 1/200. Normally, that's kind of the key if you're with motorsports. If you're not panning, if you want like a very still image, you got to push it sometimes. But like I feel like
Yeah.
1/200 when they're not going too fast is a pretty good like. Don't quote me on that, y'all. I whatever.
I've done
Um,
both ends of the spectrum on that one.
yeah. No, I
You
pan
know,
most of my work. Most of my work is panning,
same.
so I'm very like that's very in my head. Um, and then let's see. So like I feel like it's very similar. And then NASCAR transitions, like sometimes you're shooting at night, so like you do have like the really bright lights, but then sometimes at lower portions or different parts, you're having to still bump it and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're very similar in what you're
Okay.
doing. You're still trying to capture something that's fast paced. It's still very adrenaline high. Same with sports. I love covering the Wizards. A lot of people
Okay.
don't like the Wizards. I love the Wizards. I love covering
So
them. They're absolutely
that
wonderful.
that brings up a question.
Hmm.
Sports, motorsports, concerts.
Hmm.
Are you looking for the same thing at each different style of we'll call it sport, even concert,
Hmm.
because there's movement. Are you looking for the same thing, or is there something different that you're looking from a concert venue versus if you're at the basketball game?
Yes and no. So I feel like I've had to definitely train myself in the sense of understanding how the basketball game and the basketball everything progresses. It all progresses
Okay.
differently, but it all has a finalized solution. It ends, you understand, you photograph the winner, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like with NASCAR, no, I feel like I'm like for me personally, I'm still trying to uniquely capture it. I'm trying to capture the emotion. I'm trying to capture the big moments, but the emotion is always what I'm trying to capture. I feel like everything that I do, still staying true to like I don't know, emotion is always something that it's been important to me. So like I feel like throughout all my work, it's not just like, car. Here's a car. Here's like a car doing something or something surrounded by a car. It's like all like layering. Sorry. My brain's starting to, like, shut down. I
It
apologize.
is 9:30 at night, so it's fine.
Um, but I feel like when it comes to that, yeah, I am looking for the same thing, but I feel like it's just the same part of my brain, but all for different stuff. And I feel like what's really cool for me is, like, each thing that I cover allows me to access a different audience. So it opens up my audience to new things. So like I
Sure.
have people who like concerts, but they see that I cover NASCAR. I've had so many people be like, "Hey, we really want to go to a NASCAR race because you cover it. We really want to go and like we've seen your stuff and it looks really fun. So we want to go to a race." And I think that's super awesome and I think that, that's always been my goal is to allow people to see everything differently, allow people to find sports more accessible. Also, as a woman, I think it's very, very important to be a woman, if that makes sense. I don't know. I
I
feel
get
like
it.
I feel like you document, you experience things, like, you frame things differently, you see the moments as they happen completely different. I'm not that's another thing we can have a discussion in my DMs. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, not you.
No,
Um,
I understand what you're saying though, because the reason I asked you the question is like when we're at the track, and
mhm,
I'll use drifting for the example. I've shot other things. Like it's really hard to make road racing look sexy. Let's be
yeah,
honest. But with drifting, because you have tire smoke, you have that car body
mhm,
movement. Like there are
yeah,
things that like you can like really grab.
mhm,
Whereas with basketball, is it more that you want to grab that shot while they're up in the
mhm,
air? Do you want to shoot
yeah,
from underneath of
mhm,
them? Are you trying to shoot higher? I think that's kind of what I was looking for. Is like, are
okay.
there things like that that you're looking for, or
So
what does the emotion mean to you exactly?
I've definitely it definitely took me time. Even, like, the last game that I photographed when I sent it to Joe, he was like, "You've learned a lot, and I can tell that you are seeing it differently and you're starting to understand
Yeah,
it." Um, it's it's just pattern. It's always just understanding, and when you shoot one thing, it doesn't go how you want it, you change in the future. You never continuously do things that make you fail. You keep learning, and you just keep learning, and you never give up, and I feel like wanting to learn and wanting to not be correct all the time is a really good position to be in. I always feel like what sets people aside in the industry is, like, wanting to learn from people or wanting to learn from what they experience and how they when you fail, learning from your failures is extremely important, and so, from, like, the first game that I photographed, like, I didn't really know, like, the points that I was looking for and, like, the as you're saying, like, I was getting different shots, but I just didn't know where my focus was. But when I photographed
sure.
the last one, I was like, "Okay, I know, I wanna get dunks. I wanna get where they're in the air. Like, I know they're about to shoot, I'm gonna get that. When they're doing like this, I'm gonna" like, you start learning and picking up on what's important, and then you start surrounding yourself by people who also cover these things, and you surround yourself by incredible people who don't gatekeep what they do, and
Yeah.
you look at their work and you never compare yourself to their work in the sense that, like, they're better than me. You look at their work and you see how you can apply that to your work and allow you to continuously grow because that's just how art is. It's a collaborative experience, and if you don't allow it to be collaborative, you're just gonna fail, sadly. So I
Well,
think it's Mhm,
I think that's a good point, because I've
mhm,
even seen it from model photography to the motorsports photography, video,
mhm,
whatever you want to call it. Um, I had a conversation the other weekend with a couple of the drone guys, and I'm like, I don't think you guys understand how much you're my people. Like if
yeah,
something happened to you, like I would be really upset no matter what the thing was, whether you just didn't do it anymore, whether
mhm,
something actually happened to you, whatever it is, I'd be really upset or
mhm,
sad if something happened to any of you because the spaces are different. In the model industry, oh, you can't shoot over my shoulder. Yeah, don't point your
yep,
camera that direction. I set that up.
100%. Yep,
And then you're in motorsports and like, "Oh yeah, use this app and make sure you change
mhm,
this setting."
yep,
And like everybody's there to do the same thing,
yeah,
but they're not all at the
yeah,
same time, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah, I've met, I feel like motorsports has definitely opened myself up to, like, meeting some incredible human beings. One of my really close friends, Jenny, I met her at, where did I meet her? Martinsville. I met her at
Okay.
Martinsville, if I'm not mistaken, and, she was talking to one of my other friends who was also photographing in time. I literally met them all at this race. But Jenny and I have since like blossomed our friendship. We went to Dover together. We talk like every day. We talk about sports. We talk about motorsports. We talk about photography and everything. And like she helped show me around the track because she had been photographing for a while. So like she had shown me around the track and kind of like what I can do, what I can't do, what like all this stuff. Like I knew how to photograph, but I didn't know my way around. And she really helped show
Sure.
me my way around. And um, and it's kind of just like a little trade-off, like, I'll help her in the technical aspect of understanding, and, like, her and I are gonna do, like, a little call, like, where we kind of, like, go over, like, the basics of, like, the camera and just equipment, so we can both be, more prepared for this season. And
Yeah.
so
Well,
I've met a bunch of other people as well. Sorry, you can continue, my bad.
no, you're fine. You had mentioned, being a woman in this space as well
Mhm,
too. The last media meeting I was in, we probably had half the media people were actually women this time around,
mhm,
and
yeah,
it's like me and one other. I'm like, hey, boo,
Yeah, it's definitely
it's just the
changing
two
a
of
lot.
us. So it
It's
was actually
definitely
it was a really nice change of pace to see,
mhm.
so many women showing up to be like, all right, I can do this. What are we doing? I got this. Where are we going?
And
It's a really
I
nice change
think
of pace.
I think it's definitely I think it's like the push, keep going, don't allow the people around you to kind of like dampen your
Sure.
shine and stuff like that. I feel like it's very hard and men make it very hard sometimes, but I feel like the women who have progressed and pushed past that have really, allowed us to succeed in what we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
I'm surrounded by a lot of incredible female photographers that I work with at the track all the time. I've met a lot of amazing people that cover other motorsports and other sports in general. Every place that I go, I try to at least meet one or two people, not just whoever. And I think it's really, I think when it comes to succeeding, it's all about networking. I don't have an education. I want to make that clear to everybody. Like I didn't really go to I like I didn't go to college. I have, worked to build my business. I've worked to build my career, and I've gotten to this point because I've pushed and I've pushed and I've pushed. I've been true to myself. I've been true to my goals. It's definitely something that I
College
would be
doesn't
interested.
guarantee success.
No, it's also very expensive, and I dealt with a lot of things, and so I had to choose survive or drown, and I had to
Yeah,
survive, so I had to start working and go into the industry. And sadly, with the economy and the state of the world over my adulthood so far, it's been very difficult for everybody to do
I
that. So,
believe it. I
hey, I'm
believe
just
it.
grateful to be alive, though. But
Amen to
I've
that.
also, yeah, I just feel like networking, being kind to people, allowing people to help you, show you things, teach you things. Um, there's been a lot of amazing photographers who work for teams. Like my favorite driver, Bubba Wallace, his photographer Nico. He is one of the nicest people that I've ever met. He has helped me so much. He
That's
is the
awesome.
reason that like I was seen by NASCAR and all these other things, and he's just an incredible human being. And he helped me. He put me in a he like put my information like out in a chat and was like, hey, she's looking for work, and like that's kind of how it took off from there. And like
Okay.
he's just an incredible human being. All these other people,
That's
no one go
awesome.
and harass all these people. Do not go and harass these people. That's all I gotta say. Don't go and harass these
J-
people.
Jimmy says college is a scam for 80% of people.
That's what I'm saying. Thankfully, businesses are starting to realize that. I don't know how long it's
Yeah.
gonna take them to like make that full transition of being like, it's also very hard to prove that you're an understanding of photography because there's no like certifications you can get like when it comes to like
Oh, but of
cyber
course
and
there is.
stuff.
You're gonna go to the PPA and you're gonna get all of these things that you pay for eventually.
It's so expensive. Yeah, literally, and it's like, yeah, and it's just
Actually, I
it's
have a question for you. Speaking of the
mhm,
PPA,
yeah.
so the only reason I pay the PPA is for my gear insurance. Do you have your
Mhm.
gear insured?
Okay. I have my MacBook insured. I do not have my
Okay.
equipment insured. It's because the Z9 is not mine. I borrow it. It is not mine. It is my partner's
Okay.
Z9, but I get to use it whenever I need to.
Okay.
My 1DX is not worth enough to insure.
Fair enough.
I can buy a
Fair
brand
enough.
new one for probably less than how much I would pay monthly to insure it. So like the thing that matters if it would be damaged would be my computer, and that is insured. But when it comes to the transition over, if that at some point when I buy an
Yeah.
R1, which is my next step, I'm gonna buy an R1, a Canon R1. I will insure that. Don't not worry, y'all.
That's
Don't.
yeah, that's fair. I
But
have
my
so much
equipment
gear
just
at
doesn't
this point.
accumulate. Yeah,
Yeah, I have so much
yours
gear at
makes
this
sense
point.
though.
Yeah, that it's just like if I tallied up the amount of gear that I
Yeah,
have, I probably have about $20,000 in
yeah,
gear.
exactly.
And it's accumulated over time. It
Mhm.
wasn't like I just went on a shopping
No,
spree, but
yeah,
it's like when
absolutely
you
not.
like step back and look at it, you're like,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, dude.
Jimmy says, and sadly, connections will get you way farther than education. It's kind of always been
Mhm.
that way because I know growing
Yeah,
up for me, it was not what you knew, but who you knew. So it's like
exactly.
what you know, not who you know, or it's who
Mhm.
you know, not what you know.
And that
And
is a good and bad thing sometimes, definitely,
yeah,
depending on
well,
what
it's
understanding.
it's almost just as frustrating because I didn't have the college education either because I knew when I graduated high school
Mhm.
that I had to pay for it, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to afford to pay for it, so I just
Mhm.
didn't go. I'm also not built for that structure either.
Yeah,
I
no, no,
actually
no.
wanted to join the FBI of all things, and everybody I talked to said unless I went to college, I could forget it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I guess I'm gonna forget it. We're just
Yeah.
gonna keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
And I started my photography business while I had a W. You good?
Yeah, I just dropped a filter, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm just I'm just fidgeting.
I started my photography business while I still had a W-2 job, but when I needed to walk
Same,
away
yeah.
from that, I couldn't get a W-2 job because I was overqualified for things that people would call me back for, but I was underqualified for the things I was qualified for because I didn't
Yeah.
have a college education. I
Mhm.
make it make sense. Like I
You
basically I
can't.
looked expensive on paper is what it was. So it didn't matter what I interviewed for, nobody wanted to pay me. And the only way I was going to eat and pay my mortgage and have a vehicle to get anywhere was to work for myself and just figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I've had to be I'm been a server for, the past however
Yeah,
many, like 6 or 7 years.
sure.
Um then I worked at the camera store for like 6 months in between that, and then I picked up serving again. Sadly, it's like the only thing that's like quick money and you can like
Yep.
manage your time better, and then you can pick
Mhm.
up all those, other jobs on the side and stuff like that. So I'm able to like at this point for a while it was very hard for me with my income, but now I feel like I'm able to balance it more.
Good.
Um, just because I've been able to, network and find experiences, and I've a lot of word of mouth. Most of my business is word of mouth and people finding me on social
Same.
media. That's why I have a lot of grad students. What's the even point on the stream? I don't know. That's what. It's,
Doesn't matter.
it's fine. It's fine. Um. So damn, that really threw me off. What was I saying? My brain literally left the chat.
It's okay.
Um.
We're talking about funding all of this because
Oh yeah.
I think because on some level media looks so very easy to people because there's all these
Mhm.
applications, there's all these things that you can learn, and anybody with a cell phone or anybody with a camera, however you want to look at it, everybody can say that they're in media because they have something with a
Mhm.
camera that shows that they captured information.
Mhm.
Um, the problem with that is that it's really hard for people to market themselves if they're doing something a little different unless it's exceptional.
Yeah.
Um, and even it still goes unseen a lot of times because of the way our world works now. It's
Mhm.
just not the same in so many ways. It used to be you got paid for, doing photography and video and all the things, and now nobody ever wants to pay for it.
No, they don't. I mean, I bet you're part of like a bunch of like local forums where people are like, "Hey, I'm looking for a photographer for like 20
Mhm.
hours, but I only want to pay like $2 per hour and I want you to give me 7,000 raw photos but also
Right.
edit them all, but I also don't want them to look this way, but I want them to look the exact." Yeah. People just don't understand it. I talked to my roommate. My roommate's an artist as well, and she does more painting and stuff. But she and I have talked about it, she's like the reason that the demand is like people don't understand it is because of the phones and the accessibility of such quick turn. Like you take a photo,
Yeah.
you can edit in like a quick program and just post it. And people are
Yep.
like, "Okay, well, I don't understand this, but I'm gonna pretend I understand it, but I'm gonna" you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, "Oh, how hard is it to, be a photographer? I can do it on my phone." That's what people have no
Mhm.
understanding of.
Oh, all the time. All the time. That happened to me over the weekend. Somebody was super excited about the fact that they were at the track and telling me all about the fact that they were taking video from their phone and then they were taking screen grabs from the phone. So they all these cool pictures. And I'm like, that is absolutely something you can do. I'm so glad that that makes you happy. And then in my brain, I'm like, this is part of the problem, but it makes her so happy that I am so glad she is that happy and content about it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's just like
Mhm.
you don't want to take anything away from anyone, but it's like you constantly feel like everybody's taking something away from you in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. And I'm always a big proponent of you've got to start somewhere. So if you start with a cell phone, start with a cell phone. If you get
Yeah,
really good at doing
absolutely.
something really cool with a cell
Mhm.
phone and you can sell it,
I mean,
absolutely.
dude, Wes has done a lot of his really awesome content with his phone. Like it's very
Agreed.
easy,
I've seen it.
but it's also one of those things where it's you still have to understand like the basis of that tool as
Yep.
well. Like, it's not just, you take a video and you can make it look good. Like, you have to
Yeah.
understand what you can do with that tool to then get to that other point. Like, I kind
Oh,
of describe
100%.
photography and videography like it's accessible. It's kind of accessible, pardon me. It's very accessible in the sense that, like, you can hand somebody a hammer and they can do something with it, but that does not make them a carpenter. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can put something on the wall, but that doesn't make you a carpenter. You can't build a house. You can hand
Right.
somebody a camera, they can take a photo, they can get to one point, but they can't create this whole finalized project, and
Well, and the
it's
worst part
those
is
people
they
just don't understand
can.
it. But they
Yeah, the
just
worst part is they
don't.
can, they just don't choose to learn
Yeah,
beyond a
exactly.
certain point, which was that complacency I think I was talking about
And
getting
they
stuck in kind
yeah.
of like that perpetual loop.
Mhm. And I feel like people think they're above understanding it because there's all these, like, loopholes, and especially with, like, the introduction of AI and stuff like that within art, there's
Mhm.
a lot of, like, shortcuts that people take now, and it's very much changing the industry. It's
Sure.
saturating the industry a lot, in my opinion. I think that everybody should have access and should be able to learn and do stuff like this, but I think that taking it seriously is also something that I don't know, there's just
I think it gets
I see a lot
overlooked.
of yeah. I see a lot of
I
different both sides of the spectrum in the sense of photography and stuff, so
I agree with that. I think even when you're good at it, or
Mhm.
I still think there's kind of tiers to things, like, you have your beginner, intermediate, expert, but just because you're an expert doesn't mean that you're creative. It just means you're an
Sorry.
expert at the technical things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think I get frustrated with, is the technical stuff. Is I think I get turned around with the technical information, and I blame dyslexia.
Yes.
So it's like sometimes it's like there's so much technical information that I'll go research something. I'm like, all right, I got this. And I get to where I'm going, I'm like, wait a minute, is that number go there? Wait, and like there's this whole moment of
Mhm.
like panic. But I think it gets overlooked when you get to be really good at something as well too. As I'm trying to find my words for this because I've somewhat experienced it. I never called myself a professional photographer when I did portrait work.
Mhm.
Other people did.
Yeah,
And I
same.
went, okay,
Yeah.
sure. Uh, okay.
S
But it wasn't something I decided for myself. It was something like people collectively
exactly.
around me decided.
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, so that tells me I'm doing something potentially
Mhm.
right. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm amazing at it. It just means I've done something enough to capture people's attention.
Yeah.
And I think when you start gradually going through that, other people can look at it and either they instantly don't like you because you're doing something that they
Mhm.
want to do, or they just assume everything's easy for you because they don't see what happens in the background. Kind of like working on a car. Nobody knows what you did to that car to make it do the cool thing at NASCAR or the cool thing
Mhm.
at the drift track. Um, they just kind of assume it happened because they haven't seen the work, they haven't seen the research, they haven't seen the thought, they haven't seen the money. And I think the same thing happens in like the media space as well too. Is I think at some point in time, it's just kind of like everybody just assumes you're good at it, so you should just be able to produce the thing.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. I just hopefully one day we'll have a I think at some point, like, everything will kinda even itself back out, and it'll
Oh,
kinda
I
be more
agree.
yeah.
I'm in
We're getting to that
a
point.
motorsports group, a
Mhm.
couple of them on Facebook, and somebody had posted something asking a question about AI and,
Mhm.
wanting to know like kind of what everybody thought about it. And I'm like, look, AI is a tool. That's what it's meant to be. It's not really meant to replace, it's meant to be a tool that we utilize to make things more efficient. I said, now there's a lot of hype around it. And I said, give it about another year or two and it's going to do this. And then all those people that are still doing the cool photography and video stuff because they know all the things and tools that they need to leverage are
Mhm.
then going to become the demand again, because either people are
Mhm.
going to be bored with AI, or AI is going to balance out enough that enough people know how to use it that they know that they now want the actual person that's
Mhm.
capable of accomplishing the thing.
Mhm.
Because there's some reports and studies now talking about there's a concern for problem solving with the youth that we have growing up now, because we're taking away a lot of their problem solving by providing so much
Yeah.
efficiency.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that work within the school systems, and they express that to me a lot, where it's like these
Mhm.
kids that are on high school levels can't even read.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't, and it's kind of, we're getting to the point where it's like, I don't really know how the other generations are going to be able to exist on their own. Like, I feel like my generation was one of, I feel like it's because, like, I graduated during COVID. You know what I mean? Like, that
Okay.
was the year that we graduated. Okay.
Mhm.
And so 2020. And during that period of time, I've seen like a really big shift because everybody became very technological based. And it's like a lot of these kids are being put in front of computer screens and they're not actually
Yep.
being taught. And I like, as you said, like a computer is a tool, like, or it, you know, in whatever, it's a tool. Like we're given a tool, like your
Yeah.
computer's a tool, but it's like, I think we're like overusing these tools and then
Oh,
taking
sure.
these things and like, you know, your brain is made as like you are built like we are built the same way. You know what I mean? Like our brains are like under progressing, not over progressing to keep up with this over progression of technology. And so because these things are being replaced, it's just something that's constantly being replaced. Why would we continue to work hard if somebody's going to do that hard thing for us?
Right.
And like, and especially with like the introduction of chat gbt and stuff like that, like a lot of people don't know how to write because they're just allowing something else to write for them and they're not actually learning how to do it. And I don't know, it's just getting to the point where it is really bad, but I think that, and I'm hoping at some point we're gonna start realizing how bad it is and we're gonna start stepping away from it. But I also just don't really know. I really don't
I
know.
I think it I think it's gonna hang on, I'm gonna come back to that thought. I've missed a
Okay.
couple of things from Jimmy.
Oh, you're
Jimmy
good.
said Jimmy said, "Oh my God, Wes's phone shots are insanity. Blew my mind to learn that the shots were made on an iPhone." And he remembers the conversation about AI.
Mhm.
And he said, "Idiocracy" called it. I still haven't watched it. It's been recommended me to watch that movie so many times. Um, the like example, I use ChatGPT a lot to talk through what I would Google, but to
Mhm.
talk through my thought processes.
Mhm.
I don't know about for you, but I'm in a constant thought loop all the time. My brain doesn't shut
Mhm.
off. I lucky to sleep 5 hours a night.
Yeah.
And I grew up through so many things. Sebastian, my son, and I talk about it all the time. I grew up through having a rotary phone, then having a regular phone, and then having a pager, then having the lovely little brick Nokia phone. Um, and what else? Our voice messages were on little cassette tapes, and then they were actually on the phone line, and people had music that played when you got to their voicemail. There were so many things technology wise. I had a computer in my bedroom. I had a DOS computer in my bedroom in childhood. I shouldn't have. I was fortunate that I had a grandfather that knew what software was before anybody knew what software was. And so I've grown up through every type of computer as well too, but some of the generations now, they've missed all of that. They missed
Mhm.
all of the analog stuff. So what would they have to problem solve anyway? When they've already
Mhm.
been given all the tools that we've created to make our lives easier, we took the problem solving away from them.
Mhm.
I think the AI stuff can be helpful depending on how it's utilized. I think the concern with the AI stuff is what was it? There was a robot, I think, that had AI built into it, and it terminated itself because it was given a repetitive task, and it knew it was going to have to do the repetitive task for the rest of its life, and it terminated itself. And I'm like, uh-huh, we have people who do that every day. It's just
Literally.
it's just doing what just we don't want to do it either. You know what I mean? But that just kind of goes to show that the way we're doing things doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. It's just the way that we're doing them, and
Yeah.
either we're going to adapt or die. And
Mhm.
that's my usual go-to is adapt or
Mhm.
die, because I'm fortunate that I've come through all of those things and I'm willing to keep teaching myself the next thing, because a lot of the people that I work for in the freelance work, I do a lot of small business stuff like bookkeeping and consulting
Mhm.
and task management. A lot of the people that I work for are older gentlemen who still want
Mhm.
to write on a piece of paper. They want to make a photocopy. They want to print the email. They want to do all the analog things because it's what they're comfortable with,
Yeah.
because they didn't choose to learn the technology
Mhm.
to advance,
Mhm.
to keep adapting. So, and I think most of the media stuff's going to be that way too. I think everything's going to shift and change. And I think the people that choose to keep some sort of authenticness to what they're doing, I think are the ones that will survive it.
Mhm. Agreed. Very much so. Very much so.
All right. Well, we have reached almost the hour and a half mark.
Mhm.
If we don't have any questions from anybody from you, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to share, promote, prompt?
No. I mean, I not really. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I said a lot that I wanted to say, but I feel like once I end this, I'm gonna be like, damn, I should have said that.
It's okay. We can always do another one.
You're very, 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 very true. I don't know. I just feel like it's very important to stay true to who you are as a creative. I think that, if you listen to everybody else around you that's telling you to do one thing or the other, and you don't allow yourself to learn the truth for yourself, you'll just continue to fall down this rabbit hole of not understanding and just having to listen to everybody else for what you have or what you need. And it just doesn't allow you to progress in any sense. So, listen to other people, take what they say, learn from it, apply it to what you do. Imposter syndrome sadly runs in the best of us. So if you don't feel good enough and you don't really, you create the best thing and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're doing great," but you feel like nothing at all, it's just sadly normal, and feeling like your work isn't good enough and feeling like you're not good enough is sadly happens to the best of us.
All the time.
Just keep pushing. You will have, money fluctuates, life fluctuates, success fluctuates. Just ride it. Don't allow it to, hold you down. Don't go down with the ship. Just keep swimming, literally. And yeah, I just think also I think that the transition with a lot more women on the track and a lot more women in motorsports and sports photography and entertainment is coming in waves, and everyone should definitely watch out in the best
Love
sense.
it.
And I think that everything's going to transition and things are going to start being seen differently. And I think that companies are going to start transitioning and, wanting transitioning to more creative representation. And I think that don't limit yourself to what the standards used to be. I think that the standards have just been thrown out the window, especially with just how the state of the world is. I think there is no standard. I think there is a standard, but I think creating a standard for yourself is very important too. So
I
I don't
think
know.
etiquette should be the standard. I think that's
Yeah.
what the standard should be, is just etiquette.
Yeah.
It just be kind to those around you, be mindful,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody will be fine.
Agree. Agree. Very
All
much
right.
so.
Well, I'm going to hit end. You and I will stay in the studio, and then we'll say goodbye to everybody.
Okay.
Jimmy, thanks for hanging in there with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
night. Bye.
All right. So Instagram is ending, and then I have to hit the